Synodality is revolutionizing the Church. It brings new perspectives and challenges, whether it's accepted or not. It's no longer just a slogan, but a deep and silent change that challenges centuries of doctrine and tradition. This transformation is reshaping the very essence of the Church, affecting every aspect of its existence. Recently, a cardinal has sparked significant controversy. During a liturgical celebration, he allowed a voice that many believe contradicts the core principles of the Catholic faith, causing widespread debate and concern within the Church community. Are we at a turning point in the history of the Church, facing a crucial decision? When discussing the synodal Church, a concept emerges that in recent years has generated heated debates, very divergent opinions, and a profound reflection on the future direction of the Church. For some, this new stage represents a necessary adaptation of the Church to the modern world, an attempt to face its complexities and embrace a broader understanding of faith. For others, however, it symbolizes a dangerous departure from doctrine, embodied by figures like James Martin, associated with a vision of inclusion that challenges traditional contradictions and seeks to redefine the boundaries of the Church's teachings. This ongoing debate highlights the tension between maintaining doctrinal purity and evolving to meet contemporary societal needs. But what does synodality really mean? It is the vision of a Church that, although it proclaims love and mercy, seems, according to critics, willing to compromise on established moral and doctrinal principles. This ongoing debate challenges the very essence of the Church's mission and identity. James Martin, a Jesuit and advocate for greater openness towards LGBTQ+ people, has become the symbol of this controversy. For some, he represents a step towards inclusion and dialogue. For others, a dangerous concession to moral relativism. The crux of the matter is, how can the Church preserve its unchanging identity and at the same time respond to the challenges of a constantly evolving world? Critics of the synodal path argue that excessive openness risks compromising the very foundations of the Catholic faith, turning the Church into an institution prone to the pressures of the moment instead of standing firm in divine truth and its eternal teachings. However, we must not forget that this debate is not only theological, but deeply human. At the center are real people with their stories, sufferings, and hopes, who are looking for a Church capable of welcoming them without renouncing its own integrity. The Italian bishops recently published a document that, according to them, does not alter existing policies on the inclusion of LGBT people in seminaries. It is a subtle play on words and interpretations in which every nuance can represent a deviation from tradition. This is not a new topic. For years, there has been debate about a discriminatory climate in some seminaries, where men faithful to traditional doctrine have been marginalized, while candidates more in tune with a progressive vision of the Church have been favored. The debate centers mainly on the Church's attitude towards inclinations that for centuries have been considered incompatible with the priesthood. Tradition has always welcomed everyone as children of God, but has asked those who presented certain characteristics to choose other forms of service. Despite these assurances, the general perception is that the face of the Church is changing rapidly. The issue is deeply divisive. On the one hand, there are those who see these openings as a betrayal of faith and doctrine. On the other, those who consider them a necessary step to make the Church more welcoming and compassionate. The recent episode in which Cardinal Domenico Battaglia, Archbishop of Naples, gave space during a liturgical celebration to an activist linked to LGBTQ+ issues has further fueled the debate. In his speech, Simoni stressed the urgency of creating safe spaces in schools, in families, and in society, where no one should feel excluded or judged because of their sexual orientation or personal experience. His words, charged with a message of inclusion and dialogue, were received with enthusiasm by some secular media, who interpreted the act as a sign of historical change for the Catholic Church, a gesture that could open new perspectives for the future. However, the reaction among the faithful, especially among Catholics more attached to tradition, has not been unanimous. For many, Mass is a sacred moment, an occasion dedicated exclusively to giving thanks to God and to spiritual reflection. To include, in a liturgical context, messages perceived as contrary to the moral and doctrinal principles of the Church has been seen by some as an imposition and a potential source of confusion for the faithful. This contrast was even more evident considering that the celebration in question was an end-of-year Te Deum, an ancient liturgy of thanksgiving for blessings received. For critics, the choice to give space to social messages in such a solemn context transformed a traditionally God-centered rite into a platform to promote an agenda that, in their opinion, deviates from the roots of the Catholic faith. The decision of Cardinal Domenico Battaglia, Archbishop of Naples, to provide this opportunity does not seem to have been accidental. Battaglia, recently elevated to the rank of cardinal by Pope Francis, is considered one of the leading exponents of a progressive current that is trying to set a new course for the Church. This current, decisively supported by the Pontiff himself, aims to make the Catholic community more inclusive, closer to marginalized people, and more willing to dialogue with the contemporary world. It cannot be ignored that the decisions of Pope Francis, especially in the area of cardinal appointments, are redrawing the face of the Catholic Church worldwide. Currently, about 80% of cardinal electors have been chosen by the Pope himself, which means that the next conclave will be heavily influenced by men who share or respect his pastoral vision. This shift could have lasting impacts on the future direction of the Church. The Naples episode is not an isolated case, but a piece of a larger mosaic. Criticism of the Synodal Church often focuses on the accusation of having adopted a James Martin-friendly attitude, a term that summarizes a greater openness towards progressive positions and an inclusive welcome that, according to critics, runs the risk of falling into moral relativism. This change, according to critics, is not only theoretical, but is manifested in concrete decisions. From the management of seminaries to the selection of candidates for the priesthood, passing through liturgical and pastoral decisions. Critics argue that these changes could undermine the traditional values of the Church, leading to a potential identity crisis within the institution. The impression for many is that the Church is going through a phase of profound change, a kind of refounding that aims to redefine the boundaries of its mission in the modern world. The Naples episode, with its symbolic weight and the debate it has sparked, seems to be a clear sign that the Church is at a crossroads, called to decide whether and how to evolve in a rapidly changing world. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment, Amen. God bless you.